Hello everyone and welcome to another video. So today in this video we are going to be taking a look at this conductive ink pen from NED. So this conductive ink pen is available in two variants. One is the silver and the other one is the carbon one. So the reason I wanted to buy this pen is because I wanted to repair my keyboard. So this is my Logitech K230. This is my favorite keyboard. I've got at least 3 of such keyboards. So this was the first keyboard that I bought from Logitech, and the reason I like this keyboard is because it has this orange star. This orange star means that this keyboard is unifying compatible. I just have to use a single dongle, USB dongle, and that dongle can connect up to 6 Logitech unifying compatible devices. This is the reason I'm still using this keyboard, because I don't have to worry about any more dongles. If I ever want to connect more keyboards, I can do that using the same dongle, provided those keyboards will have to support unifying technology. So I've got another such keyboard which is here, and this is the reason I got the conductive ink pen. So if I flip this keyboard, you will see that there is the membrane, and in this membrane there is a couple of traces that are broken. So in the beginning only the E key was not working, the E key was not working, the D key was not working, and the C key was not working. So this line was not working. So I opened this thinking maybe there was a little bit of dust or maybe some moisture, so I used some isopropyl alcohol and I used a little bit of little piece of cloth to wipe everything down. And when I was opening the keyboard, maybe I did something, maybe I bent the membrane a little too much, a lot more keys stopped working. So I took out my multimeter and started checking. So sure enough, I found a couple of traces broken. So let me just show you what traces are broken. Right, so as you can see, if I bring the membrane a little closer, you should be able to see that there's a break in the trace right here. So if I check this trace with the multimeter, let me just show you. So I've got my multimeter here. I'm gonna put this to continuity mode. So let's check whether multimeter is beeping or not. So multimeter is now beeping. Let me just zoom it in. Right. So as you can see, you can clearly see that there is a little bit of blackness there. So if I put my multimeter here, not conducting. If I put it here, it is conducting. So there's clearly a little bit of break. So let's just use our carbon conducting ink tank and see if we are able to fix this with this pen or not. So this is how it came in. There was this outer packaging, normal plastic packaging, that there was no box, nothing else. Let me just take this out. So inside there we will get a small bottle of resin. I'm not sure what you're supposed to do with it. Maybe you're supposed to apply it once the ink is dry and everything is working, and then finally get the conductive ink pen. So it says Ampower carbon conductive ink pen. There was another version which was silver one, which was at least 3 times more expensive than this one. That is the reason I got this rather than the silver one. So if this works, maybe in future I will spend a little more money on the silver one as well. So let's just see if we are able to repair this keyboard or not, or whether this pen actually conducts or not. So I've also got a piece of paper here. So first they say you're supposed to shake it really well. So I'm going to do this. Right, so I've shaken it just enough. So I'm going to remove this protective plastic cover on the top, and then you're supposed to press it down like a correction pen. So I'm going to put this down and let's see if it is conducting or not. So I'm going to push it down. As you can see, the ink came out. I'm going to close this down again. Now we'll wait for this piece to dry and we'll see whether this is conducting or not. Okay guys, so I waited about 5-6 minutes and it is completely dry now. As you can see, I'm touching it and no ink is coming onto my hand. So let's compare it. How does it compare to a typical trace on top of a keyboard? So as you can see, I'm going to bring this keyboard here and let's just zoom it in so that we can see. So you can see there is a very decent trace going here. So I'm going to measure the same amount of length of trace and measure the resistance. Let's turn the light on so that we will be able to see. So you can see that this is our multimeter. I'm going to measure this trace here, starting from here. So you can see we are getting a resistance of about 3.5 ohms, which is very low. Now let's compare to something, the ink that we just bought. So I'm going to measure again very close. Let me bring it here. So I'm going to measure very close. and as you can see it is about 180, 175 something ohm. So the resistance on this carbon ink pen is very high. I'm not sure whether this will be able to fix my keyboard or not, or if the keyboard starts working, maybe the resistance will cause the battery to lose more power over time than it was working before. Anyways, now that I've got this pen, let's just try our fix and let's see if we are able to fix it or not. So let me just find all the traces that I've broken, and I'm going to apply the ink, then we'll see whether it is working or not. Alright guys, so I've repaired the keyboard, put this all back together, and just so you know that this is the one that we've repaired, here is my original keyboard which works fine, there is no problem at all. And in this keyboard, as I told you in the beginning, we've had problem with the E key. This bracket key was not working, the whole row E, D, C was not working, and the number 6 key was also not working. All other keys were working fine. So let's just see whether we fixed the keyboard or not. So I've opened the keyboard on my the notepad on my computer. And honestly speaking, I don't have really my hopes really high, because when I was measuring the resistance between the tracks, it was a little higher compared to the original tracks on the keyboard. So even if the keyboard works, I'm not sure how long the battery will last. Maybe once the battery goes a little low, some of the keys will again stop working until I recharge the battery or replace the battery. Anyways, let's just see whether our keyboard works or not. So I'm going to press the E key and let's see if it works or not. So as you can see, our E key is not working. Let's try the D key. D key is also working. C key is also working. As I said in the beginning, one of the bracket key was not working, so I'm going to press the bracket key. The bracket key was working, and the bracket key is also working. Finally, let's check whether we fixed the C, the number 6. I'm going to press the 6. It's not working, so let's try the numlock key. Yes, the numlock was off, so I'm going to press the 6 again. So I'm pressing the 6 again, and my 6 is also working. So let me just test the keyboard a little longer, and I'll come back and tell you what my conclusions are. Well guys, I've tested the keyboard thoroughly. I also used a typing test to test whether all the keys are working and my typing is decent. So as you can see, I've tested all the keys are working. I'm having a little bit of problem with the 1 key. So if I press the 1 key just like that, you will see that sometimes it is not working, but if I give it a little more pressure, it starts working again. So I'm just having to use a little more pressure on the number 1. Maybe it's a little dirty, but I don't want to risk opening this keyboard all over again. But the proof of concept that in the beginning I wasn't expecting this to work, but it did work. So I'm quite happy with that. This is a not fairly expensive keyboard, but this keyboard is not available anymore. And I should be able to use this for very long time now. I'm not sure what is the life of this ink, and also able to figure out what this is. This is nothing but a thinning liquid. So if you find that your pen ink starts drying up or getting a little hard, you can use this liquid, add a little bit of liquid in the ink, start mixing it together, and hopefully your ink will again go back to liquid or become a little thin, so that it's easier to apply. Anyways, for the time being, my keyboard is now working and I'm quite happy with the results. Maybe in future I will try the silver pen as well, but that will only happen once this keyboard stops working. Anyways, this was my video on this NED Ampower carbon based conductive ink pen. I hope you find this video helpful. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.